All right, let's get right into this one. It's a truly chilling story about a late night journey that spirals into a terrifying nightmare. It all starts with three friends on a single bike, just cutting through a forest, but it ends with a supernatural bargain for survival. So picture this. It's a moonlit night in the Telegon forest. Our narrator is on his bike with his two buddies, Suresh and Ajay. They decide to pull over to, take a leak, and they split up on opposite sides of the road. But when the narrator and Suresh are ready to get going again, they realize something's off. Ajay's just gone. At first, they're just calling out his name, thinking he's got to be playing a prank. The narrator even does that whole, I'm counting to 5 and then we're leaving you thing. But nothing. Ajay doesn't show up. And suddenly, that joke isn't funny anymore. The silence of the forest starts to feel really, really heavy. A simple stop has just turned into a desperate search. Just as real panic is about to set in, a scream just rips through the quiet. It's Ajay's voice, and he's pleading for help from somewhere deep inside the jumble. And then they hear another cry, "Let me go! Let me go!" Okay, this is definitely not a prank. Their friend is in some serious trouble. So they just plunge into the woods, running towards the sound, and what they find is just terrifying. There's blood splattered on the leaves, and you can see these clear marks on the ground like someone's been dragged. The trail leads them straight to this creepy, run-down, 2-story wooden mansion. Just standing there in a clearing, one last scream echoes from inside the house, and then absolute dead silence. And this is where the two friends totally break down. The narrator wants to just charge in there and save Ajay, but Suresh is completely frozen with fear. He swears he saw a figure in a black sari dragging Ajay away at an impossible speed. He's convinced it's a witch, a Dayan. The narrator, though, he's trying to think rationally, suggesting it could be a psycho killer just wearing a disguise. But honestly, either way, they know they're running out of time. Pushing past the fear, they force open this heavy wooden door. A whole swarm of bats flies out at them, and they step into a scene of just total decay. The air is so thick with dust you can taste it, everything is draped in cobwebs, and the furniture has literally rotted into the floor. I mean, nobody has lived in this place for a very, very long time. And then another horrifying scream just shatters the silence inside the mansion. This time, it's coming from the second floor. It is definitely Ajay's voice, and it's a sound of pure agony. As they rush over to the staircase, they see it. A fresh trail of blood dripping down the steps. Oh yeah, he's up there. Suresh is pleading with him, let's go, let's get out of here. But the narrator just ignores him and bolts up the stairs. He has to save his friend no matter what is waiting for him up there. You can just imagine his heart pounding in his chest as he gets to the top, bracing himself for whatever he's about to find in that corridor. And what he finds, it's the absolute heart of the horror. Hanging upside down from the ceiling is a naked body, tied up with this thick black rope. It's totally lifeless, just swaying a little bit in the gloom. And he can't look away from the single most terrifying detail. Its head is completely gone. It has to be Ajay. As they're just standing there paralyzed by this gruesome sight, they hear it again. "Brother, save me." It's Ajay's voice, clear as day, and it's coming from a dark room just down the hall. How is that possible? His body is right there. And then it hits the narrator. The corpse is headless. So maybe, just maybe, there's still a chance. So they creep into the room and see the figure in the black sari sitting in a corner with her back to them, and she's weeping. In Ajay's voice. "Who are you? Where is Ajay?" the narrator yells. The figure slowly turns around. And the sight is just impossible. The woman has no head, but clutched in her hands is Ajay's severed head, and its eyes are open, and its mouth is speaking. And then this headless creature does something that's truly unthinkable. It lifts Ajay's head up and just attaches it to its own neck, and the head becomes hers. It turns to face them, a grotesque smile spreading across what used to be Ajay's face, and speaks in this new, chilling voice with a simple, terrifying demand. And that's it. All rationality is gone. They just turn and run for their lives, bursting out of that mansion and back into the forest. The narrator is just running blind, completely fueled by adrenaline. It's only after he's put some real distance between him and that house that he realizes he's alone. Suresh isn't with him. The spirit has him. He looks back and sees Suresh walking stiffly, like a puppet on strings, right back towards the mansion. And when he looks up at the second-floor window, he sees the spirit, wearing Ajay's head, just smiling down at him. He tries to grab Suresh to pull him away, but his friend shoves him so hard he slams into a tree. Powerless, he's forced to watch as Suresh walks into that room, picks up a knife, and while chanting the spirit's demand, gruesomely takes off his own head. The narrator's world has just completely shattered. He turns to run one last time, but she's already there, blocking the main door, her grotesque form lit up by the moonlight. There is no escape. He's trapped. Trapped with a monster that has now killed both of his friends. "Bring me my head," it says again, "or I will take yours." He realizes his only chance, his only shot at survival, is to agree. But how in the world is he supposed to find her head? He knows nothing about her. To do this impossible task, he needs her story. He has to know what happened in this God-forsaken house. So she tells him this incredibly tragic tale. She and her husband had rented the mansion for a summer vacation. One day, her husband was out fishing at a pond nearby when 3 drunk campers showed up. They attacked her, and when her husband came back and tried to save her, they murdered him. Then, in a drunken rage, one of them took a knife and cut off her head. The spirit explains her body was buried under a banyan tree close by, but her head was never found. Her soul can't find peace until they reunited. The story is horrifying, but it doesn't give him a location. So desperate, he asks her, "What was the very last thing you heard?" And her answer gives him the one crucial clue he needs to solve this puzzle. And right here, in the middle of all this terror, his mind works with incredible speed. Her husband had only caught 1 fish, which he dropped when they fought. That's not enough to feed 3 guys. They were talking about frying fish, right? So they would have gone to the only place to get more, the pond. He figures that one of them, still carrying her head, must have gone to the pond and just tossed it in the water. It's a total long shot, but it's the only one he's got. He runs to the pond behind the mansion, and for 2 agonizing hours, he wades through that dark, murky water, feeling along the muddy bottom with his hands, with his feet, just desperately searching for what he hopes is still there. Finally, his fingers brush against something hard, wedged deep in the silt. He pulls it free. It's a human skull, picked completely clean by the fish over who knows how long. He did it. He found her head. The first part of his terrifying task is finally complete. He takes the skull to that banyan tree the spirit told him about, and he just starts digging until he uncovers the rest of her skeleton. He gathers all of the remains, piles them together, and he performs the final rites as best he can, setting them ablaze. And as the flames eat away at the bones, he sees her spirit, finally whole again, ascend into the night sky. The nightmare is over. The narrator fled that forest, and he never, ever looked back. He survived, but he lost both of his best friends in the most horrific way you can imagine. He has to carry the memory of that night forever. And it leaves us with one final, chilling question. Faced with an impossible choice, a supernatural killer, and watching your friends die, what would you have done?